So on today's NBA Rundown, I asked the question, how much would you be willing to pay Austin Reaves? If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you attempted a Texas two-step during the offseason where you actually tried to rip the poor kid off on a 4-year, $89 million deal. Of course, Austin and his agent wisely declined that offer. And then, of course, said all of the right things about wanting to remain with the Los Angeles Lakers throughout his career. And it's actually something that I believe Austin Reaves actually truly believes in. I mean, if you're in Los Angeles playing for the Los Angeles Lakers and you're in your fifth year in the league, and you are putting up numbers like 35-9, you can see why Austin Reaves would actually want to remain with the Los Angeles Lakers, knowing that a big payday is right around the corner. There's also been a lot of talk, and I've been guilty of this as well, of talking about Batman and Robin. And of course, Batman being Luka, and we've seen what Luka's doing. He's 37-9-9 so far this season. And his Robin is clearly Austin Reaves, who quite frankly resembles what you would expect an actual Robin to look like. I'm just saying. All right, welcome back to the NBA Rundown. As always, North America, I'm Dave DeBog coming to you from the Silicon Valley. I really want to know what your thoughts and opinions are on how much money would you be willing to pay Austin Reaves to remain with the Los Angeles Lakers, and or if you're a GM of another team. And of course, we all know there's an opening in Dallas now, as Nico Harrison got himself canned a little earlier in the day. It's amazing what the over-unders were on all of this related to Nico Harrison. All right, so I want to hear from you. Go ahead and drop your comments in. New to the channel, I'm not really sure where you've been. 2,500 plus subscribers, trying to get to 5,000. Please do go ahead and support the channel by subscribing and, of course, smashing that like button. But really more important than all of that is this is interactive. I want to see your comments. I want to hear what you think about how much you would be willing to pay Austin Reaves. Take it as if you're the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers, one Rob Pelinka. Now, throughout his career, Austin Reaves has steadily gotten better. I'm pulling up his stats right now so you can see him. It was 7, 13, 16, 20, and now we're sitting at 30. And I think on a bad basketball team, Austin Reaves actually probably could go a whole season scoring around 30 points a game. Now, to this point, we have to be really clear. Luka wasn't in a lot of the games in which Austin actually put up those actual insane numbers. And we know that LeBron is actually going to be coming back at some point down the road. And so when all of that happens, I think it's safe to say that Austin's probably not going to remain at that 30 points a game number. But in terms of being a number 2 to Luka throughout his Laker tenure, I think Austin Reaves is actually a really great Robin to Luka's Batman. Now, when we think about how much money Austin Reaves can actually make on a max deal, and we have it, and you've been able to see it throughout this podcast if you're watching this on YouTube and or Spotify, but the max that the Los Angeles Lakers can actually offer is $241 over 5 years. Now, Austin has a player option for next year, which of course he's not going to take, as it's only for $14 million. And we know that Austin Reaves likes to play a lot of golf at fancy golf courses, and I'm sure would love to become a member at some of those fancy golf courses across the country. So Austin's going to be looking for significantly more. Now, if he were to leave the Lakers, he'd be able to do that. He'd be able to sign someplace else for $178 million over 4 years. That's just how this all plays out. Now, from a salary cap perspective, because of course we all know that the NBA salary cap, despite all this extra money coming in from the billions and billions of dollars that Adam Silver was able to drive a Brinks truck up to a bank, rob the money from the bank, and not get himself in an actual police chase, we know that the NBA Players Union has not done a good job, at least as it comes to the salary cap. So maybe the next time there's a renegotiation, some of these players will be able to get more money, but things are sort of set up to create parity in the league, as we know. So the big question, of course, is we know LeBron's on the last year of his deal. I think it's highly unlikely that LeBron James is going to come back for $52 million next year. In other words, if LeBron James does remain with the Los Angeles Lakers next year, it will most likely be on a deep discount. It's not as if this Los Angeles Lakers team, especially with its new baseball owners, can actually afford to go all the way into the second, third, or fifth apron if they wanted to for a year. So I'm willing to bet LeBron would take a deep discount to remain with the Los Angeles Lakers, not uproot his family, keep everybody in LA if he did indeed want to play one more year with the Lakers. Still, we don't know where all of this is going to play out. Of course, if the Lakers somehow went on a run, Rob Pelinka does his job, brings in some rim protection for the Lakers before the NBA trading deadline, a la in what Nico Harrison actually did for the Dallas Mavericks when they went on their NBA Finals run a couple years ago. I'm just saying. So if Rob Pelinka does do that, because certainly that's something they're going to need if they're going to have any chance of actually competing with Denver and OKC, probably the Timberwolves as well, then you'll have to make some moves there. That being said, I think it makes a lot of sense for the Los Angeles Lakers at this point to be willing to pay a lot of money to Austin Reaves. Now, I'm not sure Austin is actually, I mean, of course Austin wants to get the max, but I think Austin would rather stay in LA, take a little bit less, and allow the Lakers to hire or give a couple extra dollars to some other players. So I could see an Austin Reaves, at least during the first couple years of something near a max contract, actually taking less than the max, maybe $35 million a year instead of 41. Something like that. I could see Austin Reaves doing something like that. I think his agent would step in, though, if Austin decided to go below that. Because I think what we've seen out of Austin Reaves throughout his career is a steady progression of getting better and better and better every single season. And I think when you find a player like that, especially a player that wasn't drafted, and you can tell that he wants to play hard night in and night out, not just wants to, but actually does it, I think there's a good enough reason for the Los Angeles Lakers to be willing to pay him Robin-style numbers. I am just saying. All right, listen, love to know your thoughts and opinions. Where do you think the Los Angeles Lakers should go from here? I've heard all sorts of wacky stuff about maybe the Lakers using Austin Reaves as trade bait. And quite frankly, is really the only trade bait that the Lakers have at this point. But I think they would be mortgaging their future for the wrong reasons if they actually did it. I think Austin Reaves with Luka, Doncic, and some nice other fringe players could certainly lead to a Los Angeles Laker championship or two at some point. Of course, they've just got to figure out how to get through OKC. Remember what I said about rim protection. All right. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to the NBA Rundown today. As always, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day. And I think that's it. I'm out.